The magic at Dialogue is always asking that question, like, what can we do to make it greener? What can we do to push this project a little bit further? What can we do to open the eyes of our clients and our collaborators to make that happen?
The idea that everyone is working to contribute to something bigger than just their own discipline creates a fairly special environment, because each individual is trying to plug in to everything that we're doing as a whole. So I think the level of collaboration that we have here and the level of teamwork, it's unparalleled to anything I had experienced before.
Wherever we are today, we're always aiming to go to the next step, right? And that's where the idealism comes in. That's where the sense of we can do better, right? And our work can have an impact. We're not working in the present tense. Our minds will always have to be in the future tense.
How did Dialogue start its mass timber journey? Well, the first project was the Bill Fish Forest Stewardship Education Center. I said, so Daria, we've done a 1-story mass timber building. Now we should do a 50-story mass timber building. He said, okay, well, we'll have to think about that. But in the end, that led to our prototype, which is a 105-story hybrid mass timber zero carbon building.
I just rolled my eyes and said, that's not going to happen. No one's done it. No one's going to do it. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, we got to figure it out. You know, the world's coming to an end. He's really good at explaining and convincing people that. So next morning I came with ideas, but Tom Vu came with calculations. Like, he figured it out. I'm like, all right, that's one less thing I got to do.
Why mass timber? Why is it so important? Because 1 cubic meter of wood locks up 1 ton of CO2.
If you see what's around you, all tall buildings are concrete and steel, which is not really the more sustainable way of doing it. The idea was, how do you get that wood floor system to work in an office building without columns? So we can start replacing concrete buildings with timber buildings.
We then designed a very innovative floor panel system, and that actually is right now being tested. We ended up manufacturing those. We teamed up with Ellis Don as a partner to develop the floor panel system, and it's out at UBC in the structural lab being tested.
An idea that was supposed to be a white paper, it became a reality.
Being able to work with Indigenous consultants and Indigenous designers on our projects, our clients are selecting to look at their own campuses in their own place within, not only in Toronto, but within Canada as a whole, and looking at what truth and reconciliation could look like on their campuses. Craig and I have been fortunate to be able to work with some really amazing collaborators like Smoke and Turo on some of our latest post-secondary projects. And I think having those diverse voices at the table in trying to create spaces that are not only aligned with Indigenous principles, but are universally important for students regardless of background. The connection to earth, the connection to the 4 elements, spaces that people can gather and learn from each other in a different way, I think is a really fascinating aspect, not only to the Centennial as an example, Seneca, and many, many more projects that I think we'll see in the future as well.
Our move forward will be very data-driven. We need to make sure that we collect the right amount of information and we analyze that information in a way that helps us understand what are the changes that we're making along the way.
What we know is coming into the future is more technology, more imaging capacity within the ORs and whatnot, and really sort of thinking about that layout and how that could be planned in such a way to anticipate those future control rooms and things like that without a major disruption to the whole sort of floor and the whole unit.
Innovation, by definition, is always innovating. It's always recreating. And if we get the buildings for that right, those places stay energized. There's always something new, something interesting going on, and that starts drawing people in.
What makes me optimistic about future is that there's a sense of responsibility and commitment that's being felt by everybody on community well-being, and also on being the front and center of all of those challenges in our societies, and how can design really address those issues.
So the pressure on us is to continuously be at the forefront, to continuously be doing research, to always be innovating and always be thinking. Because our job at the end of the day is precisely to imagine a future, to help clients, help communities imagine who they want to be in 10, 20, 100 years.
The next 20 years are going to be the really exciting ones.
The sad part is none of us will be here. Probably.
Well, I don't know. You speak for yourself.
We'll be alive, but we won't be in the firm.